Our ability to destroy ourselves is well beyond our ability to avoid destroying ourselves. You need to know all of the macroeconomic events. You need to know that Japan and Germany and the United Kingdom are in recession right now. You need to know that the trends are pointing towards America going into recession next. I'm watching that series on Netflix about the Cold War, and I learned something new about World War II, which I never knew. I take pride in knowing almost everything that happened in World War II. I studied it a lot when I was in my formative years, but I did not know until watching the documentary on Netflix, the Cold War documentary, that, as you know, Hiroshima was the first atomic bomb, and then the second one was in Nagasaki. I did not know that Nagasaki was not the target, and what they were doing was that they were heading towards Kokura, which is a different city, and if not that, they're going to go to Niigata. But what happened was there was cloud cover, so they had to reroute, and that's why they decided to, by happenstance, drop the bomb on Nagasaki. And it kind of is such a crazy thing to think about, how hundreds of thousands of people were going to die that didn't, while hundreds of thousands of people died instead. And that completely blows my mind, and it shows you the power of some of the weapons that we've developed as a society or as people. And we hear people talking about how, oh, we need a nuclear war to clear some excess population, or stupid things like that, where what they're not realizing is that if there were ever a nuclear war, there'd be so much ash and dust in the air that nothing would grow anywhere on the planet. So don't act like because this war is going on over in far overseas in Europe or whatever, that it's not going to affect you if it spirals or if it expands. This is so relevant, and this is why I talk about it. I don't want to talk about all this negative stuff. I mean, it's bad enough with the economy, the way it's going, that I've been talking about for decades. And it's great to see other people now in the media catching on and starting to talk about it. But I've been talking about this for so long. But the wars are the most relevant thing right now because so much can happen depending which way things go. And if you just look at the example I was talking about earlier, how they were going to hit Kokura, but then there's too much cloud, so they drop a bomb on Nagasaki. How significant such a small event or decision can be because of the power of the weapons. Our ability to destroy ourselves is well beyond our ability to avoid destroying ourselves. Watch Chimp Empire. We're not that different from the chimps living in Africa that go to war every once in a while. It's just we're the same. We've just evolved a little bit. We have less hair, maybe. Sometimes I don't feel that applies to me very much, or my father, for example. We're just gorillas. We just shave from the neck up. But look, you guys are aware of the risks of war above and beyond just deaths and hardships and everything like that. And it's crass and gross to talk about it, but the reason that I talk about it is because it could have such a meaningful impact depending how things go. And so if you're going to invest, you need to know all of the macroeconomic events. You need to know that Japan and Germany and the United Kingdom are in recession right now. You need to know that the trends are pointing towards America going into recession next. In terms of global military conflicts, I'm very afraid. I'm scared. You should be, because at any minute, any one of us could be. But since you're here on this channel, it's great that you're learning these things you already know, especially if you've been here for a while. You know that our debts are out of control. And if you followed me for decades, then you would have seen my article that got picked up by The Hill, which is the blog for the Congress of the United States, where I was talking about America's past the point of no return. That might have been, 15, 20 years ago. And nothing's changed except for the level of debt we've accumulated up until now. From then till now, we just have more debt, but it's not changed in terms of how every fiat currency always just takes the easy way out and they just print more money. You want to get elected? Print more money. You want to take care of a problem? Print more money. You want to deal with a global illness that's affecting everyone? Shutting down the economy? Print more money. And so it's always the solution to debase and devalue your currency. And a lot of what I talk about feels so negative, and I'm kind of feeling that too, believe me, because I have to look in this stuff and kind of pull out certain parts of it. So I'm keeping my eyes on this all the time. I have to watch the news. I don't want to. I want to bury my head in the sand and just wake up in 20 years when things are better. But it's not to say that there aren't tremendous opportunities. Of course, this is what we do. And as I showed you in the last video, how we are hitting so many home runs in stocks lately. But you guys know how I was talking about these 16 pages of stocks I'm going through. I got 3 pages left. I'm almost done. It's brutal. It's so hard. But a lot of what happens, and I did another screen, a few hundred stocks and pulled out more. It's come down to my hot list here, or not my hot list, but my finalists, I'll say. I've already got about, 12, 18 stocks ready to go for stock picks, and I believe are completely undervalued investments that are going to do really well. But not everybody's an investor. If you are an investor, I'm going to tell you an investment truth in just a minute that you can get from the Market Manifest that we give you as a free report on peterleeds.com. And the investment truth is that if you see a bunch of stocks going down together, say for example the whole precious metals complex drops by 10%, the stocks at that time which decrease by the least are almost always the ones which increase by the most once things turn around. That one investment truth alone could lead you to a lot of pretty significant profits and avoiding a lot of certain risks. The ones which fall the least are always the ones which recover the best. Not always, but nearly always. But enough about stocks. I'm talking about investing in everything. And one of the things that it's great to see that the media and YouTubers are starting to catch up to what we've been talking about for ages. It's got a value to tell you this stuff ahead of time, not once it starts happening. Now that there's been many months of housing prices doing exactly what I showed you, doing exactly what I told you they were going to do from a while ago. And now they're doing it. Now everybody's talking about real estate coming down. Everyone's talking about the debt being out of control. Everyone's talking about the financial breakdown and weakness that we're having and the recession that we're heading into. I think there's a value in being ahead of time, and that's what we try and provide to you guys, especially in the investment world. You want to know not once you've already started losing money on your house value. You want to know ahead of time so you can prepare and make the right decisions. That's seriously what I feel like the best value I provide for you guys is because I'll try and see things coming, and I'm usually early and I'm usually right. But next, just so you know, FYI, after the real estate starts coming down and as the recession gets here, as I've been telling you guys for quite some time, and now everybody else is talking about it, as that happens, we're going to go straight into a full-blown currency crisis. The results of a currency crisis is a deterioration of the dollar, a deterioration of your quality of life, a deterioration of the gross domestic product of a nation, an increase in costs of imports, a decrease in profits from exports, and massive jumps in things like commodities or anything purchased with US dollars. How do you prepare for a currency crisis, which is the next major thing after real estate comes down that we're going to have to deal with? You prepare for it by getting involved in actual assets such as precious metals, whether it's to own the physical metal or to own shares of companies that are producing the metal. If you're going to buy a mining company, definitely look at the ones that we talk about because they're not all created equal. A lot of these companies are trading at great undervalued prices. They have 2 years left in their reserve life index, which means in 2 years, at current extraction rates, they'll have nothing left in their resource. They'll pull out all the oil, or they'll pull out all the gold. If you have a RLI of less than 10, that's a risk for an investor. You want to get an RLI that's at least double digits. So 10 years or more of current production levels before the company's resource runs dry. There's things like that to think about when you're dealing with resource companies. You have to look at, do they have paved roads? Do we have a friendly government where they're operating, or are they going to be nationalized by some dictator? Is there military uncertainty? There's so many factors. Is there a workforce? You can't just treat all mining companies equal. You can't treat all companies equal. Everyone has to be looked at specifically, which is what I'm doing with this. And it's not, I don't mean to make it sound like it's all resource companies. Any company. There's so many things you have to look at, especially the ones we look at, because we're dealing with penny stocks, technically, so $5 and less each. And so it's like buying a used car. You have to not just know what color it is. You got to look in the engine. You have to understand how to look in an engine, what you're looking for. You need to know when you're driving the car, that certain sound. What does that imply? What does that mean? That's the same thing with stock analysis that we do. That's why you see Leeds analysis, which you can learn through the Peter Leeds Academy. That's why we look at every factor, including branding, differentiation of products, value proposition, competition. I could go on all day because this has been a somewhat encouraging, somewhat depressing talk, and I'm kind of done for the day. We love you guys. Please help us get to 40,000 YouTube subscribers. That's my new personal goal, my new personal purpose in life. How depressing is that?